Yo, what's going on, guys? Y'all saw the title of the video. We are taking a look at yet another awful take regarding Doom the Dark Ages. It seems like there's no shortage of brainlets when it comes to Doom the Dark Ages, and I don't know how to really explain the take we're gonna go over today because it is the dumbest one I've ever seen before. There's really no other word to use to describe it besides retarded. The guy that we're going to take a look at today basically just wants to fearmonger about how the game is going to be bad, so without any further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into the brain damage.
So I sat down to watch an over 10-minute video from the developers id.
Okay, I hate to cut this guy off so early, but why is there a GIF down in the corner, begging for likes and subscribes at the very beginning of the video? By the way, he keeps this here the entire video. I mean, dude, we are like seconds into this video at this point, and I already feel my brain cells just oozing out of my ears.
That just came out about this new game, and it's left me with some real concerns.
Now, there is one concern that he brings up that I actually do agree with, and we will get to that very shortly, so I will give a little bit of credit where credit's due.
I like this a lot less than that original trailer. I say this because a lot of the reviews that they did about this new game, Doom the Dark Ages, look like they may be the exact opposite of what I wanted.
I don't know, man. Doom the Dark Ages for me is everything I wanted from the modern video game industry. A game where you just feel like an absolute badass, where you just mow through hordes of enemies. You don't really get many power fantasy games anymore. A lot of games nowadays, and this is kind of a problem with the Souls-like genre, as much as I enjoy that genre, is you just feel really powerless. And Doom the Dark Ages is definitely not going to be one of those games. You're gonna feel like an absolute powerhouse from the way they describe it. They even outright used the word power fantasy, which is a huge green flag to me.
It's a mix of some things I like the sound of, others that I don't, and some things that could be okay or could be terrible, depending on how they're implemented.
Speaking of terrible, and I hate to roast somebody's gameplay because I know it's not really anything to do with his video or the points he's making, but I'm sorry, but that video quality is AIDS. At least the actual gameplay is alright, I guess.
That and the release of the PC specs that will be needed to run this thing, and I may just give it a miss altogether.
Now this I understand, being upset over the PC spec requirements. However, we don't know if these will end up being the final requirements or not. There are a lot of times where games have these crazy spec recommendations / requirements, but they're lower the time the game actually comes out, so we'll have to wait and see. However, I completely understand being skeptical, especially with the state of modern PC gaming when it comes to optimization. But we are talking about a id Software game using the ID Tech engine, so I don't really think there's anything to worry about. The forced ray tracing is an L, though.
Because this game to me doesn't look as good as Doom 2016 does, yet requires an Nvidia 3080 or better to run on recommended specs, and requires 4 times the RAM Doom 2016 did.
Now, here's where I gotta disagree. This game does not look worse than Doom 2016, dude. Doom 2016 is not a bad looking game by any stretch of the imagination, but let's not pretend like Doom the Dark Ages isn't better looking than Doom 2016. I mean, hell, even Doom Eternal is much better looking than 2016 in my opinion. I mean, I'm playing Doom Eternal in the background right now. The game looks great, and I think it's safe to say that this game is a lot better looking than 2016. And it's especially better looking than the 2016 gameplay you got in the background on whatever fucking toaster you're playing on. Also, are you completely forgetting the fact that Doom the Dark Ages will have much bigger, more open levels, with more enemies on screen at a time? That is going to make the game be more demanding. So it's not only graphics you have to consider here. I was wondering at first why the CPU recommendation was so high compared to what I expected. Then I remembered that the levels are going to be bigger, there's going to be more enemies on screen, and you can turn the game speed up. And those are all things that will put extra stress on the CPU. We also have no fucking idea how demanding the dragon sections are going to be, or the mech sections.
Doom 2016 was really well optimised. This doesn't seem to be at all. So I won't be pre-ordering this one, and I'll be waiting for reviews because I have serious concerns at this point.
I'm sure id Software is just shitting their pants at this information.
I'm going to be breaking their video down while I play Doom 2016 on Nightmare difficulty. I'm not going Ultra Nightmare,
Because you suck.
Because if you get dropped once on that, it's game over.
I mean, yeah, no shit, that's the entire point of Ultra Nightmare. It's the highest possible mode, Nightmare, but you only get one shot at it.
And the last twice I tried doing it, the first time the game crashed at the end of level 5, the game frequently crashes right at the end of level 5 when you get pulled into a hell portal in the game, and then maybe half the time the game crashes.
Now, I don't know if it's just me, but I've never crashed on that mission, so I don't know if it's like his PC or whatever. But if it is your PC and you're struggling with 2016, good luck with Dark Ages, man.
And then I have to restart, and then the next time I try it, Doom Guy clipped through a floor on level 2 and plummeted clear off the map.
Unlucky, man.
Maybe the most worrying thing for me was the reveal of difficulty sliders.
Oh, I got AIDS again.
You know, just as I thought this video was off to an actually alright start, you know, he has to go with the difficulty slider argument. Oh no, dude, an optional difficulty slider that you do not have to use. Let's hope this guy doesn't call the game woke like the last idiot we looked at.
Because that tends to mean to me a diminished and less polished gameplay experience.
Wow, that has to be the most retarded thing I've heard all day. And keep in mind, I watched a Dreamcast guy video today. So apparently, because of more customizable settings in the game, you're going to get a less polished experience on the official difficulty settings. I guess Ultra Kill's just giving you a less polished experience because there's customizable assist options in that game, huh? I guess Call of Duty is giving you a less polished experience because you can go into custom games and customize everything. I guess Minecraft is giving you a less polished survival experience because you could just turn the game to creative and mess around with stuff. No, this logic is idiotic, dude. The game will be just as polished, there's just more to play around with. How dare Doom give me more settings to play with? Fuck id Software. Like, I genuinely don't even understand the logic here, if there is any.
Because Doom 2016 had really only 4 difficulty settings. Ultra Nightmare was just Nightmare and Iron Man mode really, so no saves. The devs had to optimise 4 difficulties for that game, and the game was polished but still had bugs. This game looks like it's going to have to optimise hundreds of possible difficulties. There are 8 sliders allowing for things like customised player damage, enemy damage, the speed of enemy projectiles, and the total game speed. If each slider has, by the look of it, maybe 10 positions, that's something like 8 to the power of 10 possible settings, and they couldn't even manage a flawless game when they were trying with 4.
Okay, man, there is really no nice way of me asking this question. Are your parents related by any chance? They're still gonna optimize the basic 4 difficulty settings. They're just now going to add a slider if you want to customize the difficulty more to your liking. They're not going to go out of their fucking way to optimize every single little combination you can make with this slider. There is no way this guy's this much of a dum-dum. If you play around with the slider and create an unbalanced experience, that is your own fault. And if you complain about that, then you eat paste. Like, oh no guys, the slider that I used to tweak the settings to make the game unbalanced caused the game to become unbalanced.
It looks like this game's lower difficulty will be essentially games journalist mode.
Well, no shit.
Wait, you mean to tell me that the easiest difficulty is kind of created for those who aren't good at the game? What are you gonna tell me next? Humanity didn't learn how to build a rocket ship in a day?
For me, who really liked Doom 2016, this game looks glacially slow. It's like a snail on downers. It even still looks slow on the highest possible speed settings.
Alright, there's 2 things I want to note here. First of all, keep this clip in mind because it's gonna come in handy a little bit later. Second of all, this game in the fastest speed is much faster than Doom 2016. Nice try though.
Just look at the speed of these enemy ranged attacks. That's ridiculous. I could be half asleep and sedated and still dodge that.
I mean, we don't know what settings this person has on when it comes to game speed and stuff. Also, the projectiles in Doom 1 and 2 were also a lot slower than the more recent Doom games, yet those games were still challenging.
This is shocking, and I can only guess this is meant for the likes of games journalist Dean Takahashi, who tried to play the game Cuphead and famously couldn't get through the game's tutorial. He also had trouble with the basic game mechanics in Doom Eternal, so how can journalists give a workable review of a game if they can't even get through the tutorial?
I got a better question for you. Who the fuck would still take a gaming journalist's opinion on a Doom game serious after Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal? The only reason anybody in the Doom community pays attention to a gaming journalist's opinion is to milk it for ad revenue.
There are a worrying number of signs that the focus in Doom the Dark Ages will not be on the gameplay, including the giant mech fights and the dragon.
So you're worried that the focus of Doom the Dark Ages won't be on the gameplay because they're adding more gameplay with a dragon and a mech. This makes no sense at all. Bro, I kid you not, this has to be one of the worst videos on all of YouTube. At this point, I'm just wondering if this guy's like trolling or not.
As cool as they are, they're just more signals that the focus in this game is in entirely the wrong place.
What? People have literally been asking to be able to play in the mech. So id Software delivered what the fans want, but apparently that's the focus in the wrong place? I genuinely am shocked at what I'm hearing right now. I can't even believe this is a real video uploaded to the internet at this point. This feels like a parody.
In their video, id describe Doom the Dark Ages like this.
In Doom Eternal, you felt like a fighter jet. In Doom the Dark Ages, you'll be an iron tank.
You remember that clip I told you guys to keep in mind earlier? This one.
For me, who really like Doom 2016, this game looks glacially slow. It's like a snail on downers. It even still looks slow on the highest possible speed settings.
He acknowledges that this is meant to be a more slower paced game, but yet earlier he was complaining about this? My guy, not every single game needs to be fast-paced.
I'm interested in them bringing strafing back into the game as a viable tactic, instead of the run and gun from Doom 2016. In some ways, that's going right back to before Doom 2016, and way back to the original Doom 1 and 2. And lots of elements of this game seem to be like that.
Yeah, like the slower gameplay you were just complaining about.
There also seems to be a big emphasis put on secrets and exploration, which is also very Doom 1 and 2. One problem with the idea of strafing may be what they've done to the enemy AI in order to make that work, because the enemies don't seem to be flanking like they did in Doom 2016. Their tactics seem extremely rudimentary in comparison in these gameplay videos, and it looks like the game relies on hordes of less intelligent enemies instead of having a fewer challenging ones.
You do realize that the game can still be challenging that way, right? Once again, Doom 1 and 2. If you had a bunch of enemies attacking as fast as those in Doom Eternal in 2016, in the numbers that they are in the Dark Ages, the game literally wouldn't be possible. This is literally something that needs to be this way in order for the game to be balanced. Now, for the next part of his video, he talks about the lore of Doom, which I know nothing about, so we will be skipping this part.
Looking at this footage, there are just neon markers and tat covering almost the entire screen now.
I mean, I guess so, dude. I mean, bro, this guy is just so desperate to find things to complain about, it's honestly pathetic.
Part of this seems to be due to a new system they've come up with of contextual button presses. So the Doomslayer has a shield in this game. The shield is also a chainsaw, and it's one button to operate the shield as a block, the same button to operate it as a parry, and the same button to throw the shield like Captain America. And that's why the screen is filled with this neon crud, to tell you what will happen when you press that contextual button, and that could be an absolute nightmare. If in the middle of a battle you're trying to block and instead Doomguy throws the shield because you didn't see a neon marker somewhere in a field of neon markers.
So I'm not gonna lie, I understand this concern. Shared buttons can become problems in games, like for example the Blood Punch and Glory Kill in Doom Eternal. The Blood Punch and Glory Kill in Doom Eternal both share the same button, so sometimes you'll want to go for a Glory Kill but you'll end up Blood Punching, and sometimes you'll want to Blood Punch but you'll just be fucking thrown into a Glory Kill, and it can mess you up and get you killed.
Doom 2016 also got a lot of praise for the way it told the story, or maybe more exactly, the way it didn't tell the story. Because instead of cutscenes, like pretty much every other game does, Doom 2016 put the story into text files that you could read if you wanted to. But frankly, Doomguy in the game wasn't much interested in the story. He was mostly interested in ripping and tearing demons. So what have they done this time? Well, they've taken the narrative out of the codex and put it into cutscenes.
I mean, there were cutscenes in Doom Eternal and they were all skippable, so who really cares? I get being disappointed that they took out the codex for all 10 people that actually read through those things, but I think it's better they just put the story in the cutscenes, so if you want to learn about the story, you can watch the cutscenes. If you don't care and you just want to play for the gameplay, you can go ahead and skip the cutscenes. While the codex was a cool idea, I don't think many people really used it. I mean, when I'm playing a game of Doom, I'm not really in the mood to stop my gameplay, open up a codex, and start fucking reading.
Their video also says there are going to be both new and returning characters and new enemies, and I have mixed feelings about those as well. The original Doom in 1993 was never really about characters, was it?
I mean, if we're gonna be honest, that's probably because of hardware limitations. But Doom 2016, the game you've been sucking off this entire video, has characters and dialogue. In fact, there's these entire segments where you go into Samuel Hayden's office and he talks to you about where you're gonna go or whatever. There's Olivia Pierce. There's that segment where you get your first ever Argent cell, and Samuel explains the story of the game to you.
Doom maybe has some story problems when compared to, say, Batman.
Alright man, fuck this, we're done. We're done here, dude. You know, I tried to hear this guy out, but at a certain point, my brain has just oozed out of my ears. And now, I am officially brain dead. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike and an angry comment. And yeah, peace.